Hey folks, so I wanted to take some time during the daylight to talk through some of the decisions I've made for power in my bus. Everyone kind of does this a little bit differently. I'm really impressed with a lot of the setups folks have. The theme of my bus conversion, my bus build, has been keep it simple, thanks to a good friend of mine always reminding me of that. Not to do things that I don't necessarily need to do at this point. So, I have some significant power needs. I have a disabled daughter with a lot of medical equipment that needs to get plugged in and charged and needs to work. But I also want to be able to build a platform that I can add on to over time. Add things like a generator, extra batteries. Maybe someday I'll want solar because it's super cool and stuff. But for the meantime, I really wanted to utilize the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure of the bus, the existing wires that are running, and so on. When I'm sitting at my house and I can plug into Shoreline, or when I'm running the bus, and so on. So to accomplish using as much of the existing infrastructure as I could, I have bought this Ames 3000 watt 12 volt inverter charger. This is hooked through those 2-aught wires directly to my bus batteries. And what this inverter and charger plus switch does is when I'm sitting here at my house or at a RV park or someplace where there's an outlet, I can just plug directly into the Shoreline, and that power will pass through this inverter and instead charge those batteries that I'm connected to. So right now it's flashing. I'm sitting at my house. Power is coming in through the Shoreline connection, and it's charging those batteries, and I can use my outlets if they're all hooked up and stuff. Also, I can turn my bus key over to accessory, and I can turn on my lights and my USB charger and fans and stuff like that. And as long as I'm not depleting the batteries faster than I'm charging, I should be able to do that indefinitely. And I'm absolutely not going to be using that much power when I'm sitting around at this point in time. So anyways, to quickly describe this is just a simple extension cord. I cut off the ends, or I cut off one end and I put it into the input side of the inverter. So power is coming in. When I'm not needing to invert the power because I'm hooked to Shoreline, it is using that power to power my outlets and also to charge the batteries. And of course, the outlets would be plugged into the outside here. Then when I unplug the Shoreline, it immediately switches over to inverter mode, inverts the 12 volt power over to my regular outlets. So what I did here was I drilled a hole in the floor with this bad boy. And to protect the wires, I went out to Home Depot and I got a PVC plumbing thing and I jammed it in there, and then I used this great stuff foam because, as the name suggests, it's pretty good. And then I'll explain briefly the outside here. Put my farm boots on. Those wires come through the floor, which I'll show in a moment. They go to these ginormous batteries. So you can see it comes down through the floor, and then it goes into the existing kind of wire harness setup there. I'm using this little waterproof thing to connect the extension cord to another extension cord that runs to my house. So anyways, just wanted to describe that real quick. I will absolutely be adding 4 to 6 6-volt batteries that I'll hook up to be 12 volt. I'll get a ton of amp hours out of those. I could hook up a generator right now if I really wanted to bring one along. I can add or swap out that regular 3-prong outlet for a 30 amp for when I go to RV parks or whatever. So it's pretty versatile as far as I can tell. I'd be happy to hear your comments or tell me it's a terrible idea. But I think for now, for our initial setup, even when we start driving around in this, it should be pretty self-sufficient. When I need to add something like a rooftop AC unit, maybe a stove, other things that might have a bigger power draw, I maybe want to be a little more sensitive to how I'm using the bus batteries, but I don't see that being an issue in the foreseeable future. So Let me know what you think. Thanks.